this again. All right, well, now that the power's back on, let's restart this. So what we're going to cover are state laws. This is the last section. You've covered the book completely. Little bit about the state laws. Like I said, if you're at home listening, there is a PDF that you can download. It's the PDF that you've got in front of you here if you're live. It is 230-something pages of state law. What I have done is taken the liberty of highlighting what you need to know to create this outline. So I would say if you are one of those people that love to highlight stuff, this is the highlighted stuff, okay? So probably don't waste your marker and highlight everything on every page. There might be a few key things you might want to highlight, but other than that, this is the highlighted version of the 200 pages that were given to you. The other thing that I have done is I have removed all of the code numbers because there is no question that's ever going to ask you what is 876 IAC 3.4.1.8 say. All right? So I've removed all of those codes to try and make this more of an outline. If you're at home listening, you'll notice the slide is going to be the same slide because there really are no slides, so follow along in your PDF that we've got. That will be the best way for you to keep track of what we're doing. All right. Any questions before we begin? So before we actually get started, let's talk a little bit about the structure of how this is set up so that you will know this. Now, this deals strictly with Indiana. So everything we're going to be talking today is Indiana laws, all right? Whereas the book were general that are used in probably half of the states. These are all Indiana specific. And how this is set up, Indiana has this thing called the PLA, which stands for the Professional Licensing Association. It's not in your outline. It's not really necessary for you to know. It's just a little background, so you won't be tested on this. You can write this down if you want, but like I said, it's just so that you get some feel. The PLA is the overarching group that controls all of the licenses there are. Underneath that, there are about 26 categories of employers or companies that have a license. Anybody in here have a bartender's license? All right, they're controlled by the PLA. Anybody in here have a haircut, barbershop, or beautician license? All right, they are all controlled by the PLA. If you take your bartender's license and look at Miguel's haircutting license, it's the same license. It's the little blue square, and then they got the bigger one that you're supposed to post on the wall. Real estate has the same one, because we're all licensed groups underneath the PLA. One of the groups that we are going to be dealing with is what we call the Real Estate Commission. The Real Estate Commission. The Real Estate Commission is one of the subgroups underneath the Professional Licensing Association. All right? Its license looks just like the beautician's license, looks just like the bartender's license, because we all are subgroups underneath that. So you will start seeing that we will deal with Indiana Code, which is IC, which are administrative laws that are created by rule and law, like the House of Representatives makes some of this. Then we will also deal with the Indiana Administrative Code, IAC, which are rules specifically to the Real Estate Commission. So some of these rules may seem redundant because some are created by the PLA for all the licensees, and some are specific to just Real Estate Commission, okay? That's how that starts. Now, we're doing this last this time because now that you have seen everything in the book, these are the laws that establish most of the stuff we've talked about in the book. So let's get started in our handout. The Indiana legislature created the Real Estate Commission. It granted the sole authority to license and regulate real estate license. It is the only licensing agency in the state. We have bantered around this thing called MIBOR, which is the Board of Realtors. Bloomington has one. Those are not licensing agencies. Think of those as unions. This is the licensing. They are the only ones that deal with licensing, is the Real Estate Commission. The Licensing's Real Estate Commission's sole purpose, if you ever get lost and don't know the answer to a question, here's the way to solve it. Their sole purpose is to protect the public. That's what they were created for, was to make sure that the public is protected from us unscrupulous, cheating, lying, thieving agents. All right? That's a joke. None of us really are that. But that's what the commission was made for, so that the public gets all the right information, gets the true information, gets the best service. So if you're ever lost and you don't know an answer, whichever answer protects the public the most is going to be the answer to that question. The second thing the commission does is provide disciplinary sanctions to people that don't follow these rules. Okay? A little bit about the commission. There are 12 members that sit on the commission. All right? The easy way to think of this is, imagine of these 12 members, 9 of them are real estate brokers. How many squares are there on a tic-tac-toe board? 9. Imagine the state of Indiana is loosely divided like a tic-tac-toe board. So there are 9 districts in the state. Each district has one of the members. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 3 more members, and they are called at-large members. What does at-large mean? Means they can come from anywhere in the state. There is only one broker per district, but the other 3 can come from anywhere in the state. Elkhart, Greenwood, and Richmond. All 3 could come from Richmond. Doesn't matter. Of those 3, 2 of them are what we call citizen members. Citizen members, meaning they are unlicensed. There are 2 people that sit on our real estate commission that do not have a real estate license. Their job is to input the public's interest. Whereas most of the others might say, well, as a broker, here's what I think. These other 2 people go, yeah, but as a consumer, here's my thoughts. So 2 of them are citizen members. The third person is what they call a broker at large. So there is a 10th real estate broker, but he is at large, meaning that 10th person or 10th broker can come from any of the other 9 districts. So the trivia question for you is, what's the maximum brokers per district that we can have? 2. One's a district representative and the other could be the at-large. And he has to come from somewhere. All right? So there are 12 members, 10 brokers, 9 of them from a district, 1 is at large, and there are 2 citizen members that are at large. They are appointed, not elected. They are appointed by the governor for a 4-year term. And they're replaced as needed. The commission members, these 12 people, cannot hold any elected official job, whether it's state, local, federal, any of that. You guys know State Representative Woody Burton? He's a carpenter agent. He could not be on the commission. What's the mayor out of Martinsville? He's not the mayor now. He used to be the mayor of Martinsville. He's a licensed agent. He couldn't be on there. Who's the guy? Cardwell. Jeff Cardwell, who's a city county rep. Not anymore? What's he, is he still?
I mean, when Pence got elected, he kind of went up to be his liaison.
But he's still in the politics, right?
He's not elected.
He's not elected. Jeff Cardwell used to be an elected official. That's a real estate license as well. So those are guys that can't be. The theory is that they may have different mindset to their constituency than they would the truth. Okay? They are appointed by the governor. Here is my letter to be appointed as the next at-large broker. Right here. So I am in line to be on the commission. I just can't get that guy to die. He won't leave. Because they are appointed at will, virtually all they have to do is say, yeah, I'll serve another 4 years, and they're on it. It's not an election, all right? So the guy that's been there has been there a while. Huh? Is it a paid gig? Yes. We'll cover it here in just a second. So there on B3, number 2, it talks about what we just talked about. 9 brokers, 1 from each district, 3 at large, 2 of them are citizen, and 1 is another broker. They've been a broker for 5 years. Got to have been a broker for 5 years to be on the commission. From this group, they will elect a chairman from this group of 12 and a vice chairman. The chairman sits for 1 year and can serve 2 years consecutively. Then they have to step down. All right? So they serve for 1 year, but they can do it 2 years in a row. Then they have to step down and let someone else. The PLA C2 assigns an executive director to each subcommittee. Our executive director is Deanna Alexander. She is the executive director of the Real Estate Commission. All right? Think of her as our liaison to the PLA. When the Professional Licensing Association has a meeting, they don't call the board of directors for every subgroup. They call the executive director for each one. That way there's only 10 or 12 or 20 of them sitting in the meeting and not 200 people. So she represents us to the PLA. An easy way to think of her job, and I'm not demeaning at all, and I like Deanna, think of her as an executive secretary. Because as the director, she tracks the meetings, she calls the meetings to order, she handles the licensing, she does all of that stuff. She's also the only full-time person working for the Real Estate Commission. So if you call down there and say, hey, I want to talk to Tom Shook, who's one of the directors, they're going to go, oh, well, he's sitting in Lafayette because he's a broker. Deanna's the point of contact at the commission. Now, she has some people that help her, but literally she is the contact at the commission. She also cannot be on the commission. She is exempt from being one of the members. So while you will see 13 or 14 people sitting at the meeting, only 12 of them are the commissioners. One of them is her, and then they have legal counsel there as well. Let's stop the audio.